Alright, we're doing an experiment with YouTube Live here. I'm starting in Marion, Ohio, March 15th, 2019, 4:28 p.m. Eastern Time, start of the video. Probably not going to talk much, I'm just going to get some footage. But I'm going to run with the radio. Radio station is subject to change. And actually, I'm thinking a little Paul McDonald would be better for this. One moment. Okay, this guy's awesome. I think he's based out of Nashville. I actually heard of him. I went to the Emily Kinney concert in Columbus on, I believe it was October 16th last year, 2018. For those of you that don't know, she played Beth on The Walking Dead, and kind of shifted a little more into music, or maybe always did music on the side, or maybe she does acting on the side. I don't know. But anyway, this guy opened up for her, and to be honest, he's really kick-ass too, musically. So we're going to start this album from the top, see where we wind up.
I don't understand. It don't make no sense. It don't have to, baby. It only feels like I can hear your heart beating on top of mine. We're on the same wave. Yeah, we're running on the same time. Yeah, I wanna get high. For the first time in a long time, I'm feeling alright. Yeah, and I wanna get started. Off that look in your eyes, say I never let go. I give all my life just for a moment with you. Doing all the things that new lovers do. Yeah, you're a million with baby. Yeah, and you keep reeling me in. You got me on the stage. Yeah, baby, you got me feeling it. Oh, darling, if you only knew. You got me in the palm of your hands. You got me all choked up. Yeah, baby, I hope you understand it. Yeah, and I wanna get high. For the first time in a long time, I'm feeling alright. Yeah, and I wanna get started. something different, something better, something real this time. Say I wanna get high, and I wanna get stoned. Off that look in your eyes and say you never let go. You got me in love, you got me feeling alive. Yeah, something different, something better, something real this time. I give all my life for you. Yeah, baby, I give it all away. I'm moving with you, doing all the things new lovers do, doing all the things new lovers do.
I'm gonna switch to another one that's really good. They're all good, but this one's really good too.
Yeah, you hold me like a cigarette. From the very first day, you had me on choke. You had me dizzy in my head. I hold you underneath my tongue. Show you off to everyone. It's just a matter of time until the sun creeps up and the trucks are all on. Shit, I can feel a hole in you, but baby, there's a hole in me too. I'm looking for a late night fix to ease my mind, so that you could use one too. Yeah, I know that love is better than being alone. So if you wanna come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. If you wanna come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Sit down and sit me with them is. Hold me tight like your past, don't ever forget either here or now. 'Cause it's already there upon me. Baby, let your feelings die. Yeah, just let it all out. It's just a matter of time until the sun creeps up and the drugs have all run out. I can feel a hole in you, but baby, there's a hole in me too. I'm looking for a late night fix to ease my mind, so that you can use one too. Yeah, I know that love is better than being alone. So if you wanna come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. If you wanna come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on. If you want, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on. If you wanna come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on. Yeah, I can feel a hole in you. Baby, there's a hole in my heart too. I'm just looking for a late night fix to ease my mind. Sure that you can use one too. Yeah, I can feel a hole in you. Baby, there's a hole in me too. I'm looking for a late night fix to ease my mind. Sure that you can use one too. Baby, I know that love is better than being alone. Yeah, I know this love, but it's better than sleeping alone. So if you wanna come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on. If you wanna come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on. If you wanna come on, come on.
Alright, we're going back to the radio for a little bit. And actually, I'm going to turn it off. But, yeah, I think I'm going to go up toward Upper Sandusky and get to the Love's truck stop. And check out their phone chargers, because sometimes you can get better ones at truck stops than you can at places like Walmart. And by the way, I'm not a huge fan. You can buy phone USB charging cords for phones at Dollar Tree for $1. I don't recommend getting them there. No, I'm not on some high horse. I'm not above shopping at Dollar Tree, but some things there you really get what you pay for. They'll work great for a couple of weeks, and then they just quit. But when it comes to phone chargers, usually get something high quality, pay a little more, it'll last longer, and it'll charge faster. And I really can't wait for it to come from Amazon. Even 2 days, I need to find one today if possible. I could wait 2 days. I just, with what I do in terms of income now, I have to be able to keep my phones charged and to be able to charge my phone quickly. Because I can leave with it fully charged, and right now the not the greatest. They're no good if you can go from a full charge to 10% in 2 hours. I need a full charge to be able to either last at least 3 hours or have a way to be charged. I actually have 2 power banks at the moment, but if they take hours and hours to charge, again, don't use cheap charging cables. And by cheap, I don't necessarily mean low cost, I mean built cheaply. It's okay to pay $20 for a phone charging cable. Which I think most iPhone users do anyway, but I'm talking Androids. Here's an interesting little road coming up, and it's not really even out of the way. They've got this state highway that goes to a little town. I don't know if it's Morrill or Morale or however you pronounce it. But the state highway just goes there and all of a sudden ends, and there's still a road. It doesn't dead end. But you go from being on a state highway to a county road, and there's not really... There doesn't really seem like there's anything in the town itself that would warrant taking a state highway, routing a state highway there just to stop. And actually, there's quite a few towns like that in this part of the state, where you might have a state highway that goes there. Actually, we might make this part of this video experiment, because I don't know if it's really that interesting of a subject or not, but we're going to try this. So I'm going to get off here at 231. I'm assuming it's pronounced Morrill. If anyone's from there and I'm mispronouncing it, please do let me know in a civilized manner, of course. Because I am curious, and I will Wikipedia it later, but I'm not going to do it from my phone while driving, because that's illegal in Ohio, and actually I'm just going to turn the radio back on for a minute. This song's like 20 years old. No, actually, I think it's 20, well, it's more than 20 years old. I think it's from 97. 1997, of course. I'm not that old. I wasn't born in this century, but I wasn't alive in this life in the one before the century I was born in. It's weird when you're born before the start of a new century, because I don't know, there's just something that just makes you seem older than you really are, I suppose. But yes, I was alive when the year started with a 1 instead of a 2. And there are people who weren't, who are old enough to vote this year, actually. Losing this radio station. Just turn it off and listen to the ambient sounds of the wind, I guess. Or is it ambient? No, that's like, is it envelope or envelope? I mean, I've heard, like, people in my own family pronounce it differently. To be honest, I probably use both interchangeably, and just whatever comes out is what comes out. This video is probably boring as hell. I kind of wish they had a feature where you could have people call you and do like a call-in show. But I don't know if I'd want people to have my actual phone number, maybe like a burner number that patches through to it. And those are pretty cheap too, so change them if somebody gets too creepy. Actually, this gives me a great idea on how to make a feature-length motion picture on zero budget with maybe 2 or 3 cast members in real time. might do is, I didn't see anything that showed the state highway ending. Oh, right here. This is that 0 mile marker. This is the end of the state route. Looks like it goes about to the post office, which is open, but okay. So, I'm going to head back toward Love's at this point. But rather than go back, because this road actually goes through, and I can pick up another one that'll take Harpster, which is the next town north, and I can pick up Sandusky. And I need to slow down, because this is a 25, and my foot tends to slip on the accelerator, and it was a little over 25. Say how much. Fifth Amendment right to nominate, but shouldn't speed in residential areas anyway. And I don't think most people do on purpose. But as I told somebody about using the R word at work once. In that case, whether you mean to be offensive, it's still offensive. It's a disability slur. Okay, maybe it's not as bad as saying the N-word. Which I have had 2 situations in my life where some idiot said the N-word in front of a black coworker. I'm not going to disclose where those happened, but say that the one that was the longest time ago was about 20 years when I was first in the workforce. And you'd think even in 1999 people would know better than to do that. But people don't know better than to hit kids. So, and I don't just mean spank. I don't believe in spanking, but I'm talking people punch kids in the mouth, knock teeth out, and try to pass that off as so-called discipline or so-called corporal punishment. A man beat his daughter to death back in 2001. Jehovah's Witness, by the way. And he tried to duck a murder charge by stating that he was attempting to administer what he called, quote, biblical discipline. Okay, say what you want. Quote Proverbs of Solomon 13:24 all you want. I'd be the first one to say, how did Rehoboam turn out? Or how the fuck is that pronounced, by the way? I've heard it pronounced Rehoboam and Rehoboam. Or Rehoboam. Those 3 ways. The guy who pronounced it Rehoboam was a pastor, so I'm kind of inclined to believe that's probably the correct pronunciation, but never know. But anyway, this guy beat a girl 160 times. Okay. Even those of you out there who are pro spanking have admit that's kind of sick. Ike Turner would have probably thought that was sick. May he burn in hell. And that kind of gives us a new topic because people quicker quicker to crucify Ike Turner than John Lennon. And Ike Turner deserves to be crucified. Don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong on that. I don't care how good his music was, or Elvis, the Beatles. And yeah, sometimes John Lennon gets a free pass because he actually, now he did admit that he regretted how he treated his first wife and son. Or at least how he treated his first wife. But this Man of Peace persona, little sketchy at best. And I'm going to get some hate for this, and you know what? Fuck you, it's my channel. I'll say what I want. Freedom of speech. You don't have to like what I have to say, and you're welcome to say what you want. Just beware, rude comments will likely be ignored, deleted, or get you banned. Because for some reason on YouTube, if you respond to somebody's comment after blocking them, they can still respond. Anyway, yeah. Now, there are some that say that John Lennon becoming becoming a more peaceful man in his last 10 years of life had more to do with him getting involved with his second wife and getting away from the way he used to be. But that doesn't change if he was abusive with his first wife. That really doesn't change that. Doesn't make it okay. You know, as the survivor of an abusive father, you know, he could discover the cure for cancer and I wouldn't want anything to do with him. It's not about hating anyone, no. Do I hate him? No. I pity his ass, for sure. Because he missed out on a lot of he missed out on relationships with nearly all of his biological grandchildren. I don't have kids. If I do, they're not going to meet him. Most likely they will not meet him in his lifetime, because by the time I have a kid, he's probably going to be dead anyway. 77 now. If not, he's going to be really fucking old by the time they're old enough to be able to legally decide for themselves whether they want anything to do with him. And about 18 years of knowledge why they should probably pass on that. Or just 18 years of being kept the fuck away from him if he is still alive. I tend to change topics quickly if I get in a groove just discussing things, so try to bear with me. I might sound like I'm rambling a little bit. Yeah. But long story short, at the best, maybe John Lennon was a man of peace in his last 10 years. And again, I'm not saying free Mark David Chapman or anything. There are people who are saying that. That seems a little extreme. Although he has been in prison pretty much since I was born, and is probably no longer a real threat to anyone. But I'm not among the extremists that say that he did a public service. I won't say that I've never thought it. It's taken me a long time to come to terms with a lot of things. Okay, so we just crossed through Harpster on, I don't even know what the fuck road this is. I think it might be County Road 115 in Wyandotte County, Ohio. 119, okay. Just as good. That's a, pretty sure 119 is a straight shot into Upper Sandusky. I don't know if it connects with 23 or 67. And no, I'm not out bobbing for tornadoes. Although, live stream would be a good way to do that. I'm actually scouting for places. I'm thinking of launching a web series where I go places that are maybe within the state, or within a few hours of me, whether they're in state or not. Because I'm not actually in the very center of Ohio. And I'm not moving to Centerburg unless they apologize to the class of 2009. I have shot things there. I've actually shot footage in that park where they had their graduation ceremony. Where the parents threw a graduation ceremony for the graduating class because the school district decided on that cheating scandal. They had this cheating scandal over by, but they decided to supposedly set an example and cancel the graduation ceremony for everyone. I was actually on my way to New York when I heard about this, and too far away to turn around and head back with cameras, or I would have been involved in getting footage of that. But to be honest, the local media did a hellacious job. Now, people sounded off opinion-wise on both sides of that. My feeling on it is, okay, I'm a firm believer in innocent until proven guilty. I don't even always consent to receipt checks at Walmart. Although those actually aren't, I recently learned those aren't actually under the Fourth Amendment like a lot of people think they are. It has to do with private property. But some state laws, unless they have something posted that says they reserve the right to check receipts or to check anything, bags, etc., anything in the store. A lot of stores are putting signs like this up. Yeah, graduate from 10 years ago. And I was going to do a documentary on that, but there's a lot of things I could do documentaries on that it's a matter of finding the time and the energy, because I don't come from money and I don't have a lot of money yet. I'm working on that. So a lot of times the things I'm able to make are this kind of stuff. Driving footage with maybe a little commentary. Maybe turn the radio on and risk a copyright strike, which, to be honest, I've only ever had one of those, and not on this channel. And that wasn't even a copyright strike. That was a content strike. I'm not going to say what the content of the video was, but it had something to do with basically making a, I don't know if it's a YouTube poop or if it's something else. I don't know what the correct term is, but something where you mix other media up with things, and I took up some political ads and obtained some kind of nasty footage of other things, and then the person saying, "I'm so and so and I approve this message." And apparently there's a primary coming up in Upper Sandusky, which, it's only March, and I live in one of those precincts where I live in Logan County, which is 2 away from here. Well, 2 to 3, depending on which ones you go through. And we don't really even have a whole lot of elections other than governor, president, or senate. Now, sometimes we'll have a whole year without any elections, except maybe school district, bond dues, or local fire department. And to be honest, I always support the local fire department. I'm a little skeptical about bond issues in my school district. They seem to run things well, but if I had owned property, for instance, in Centerburg the same year as the, if they'd had a bond issue the same year they canceled that graduation ceremony, I don't imagine it would have gone through. But that's really not related. I always wonder with bond issues, are they, where is the money? What are they doing with the money? Because sometimes teachers are getting paid less and less proportionately, while administrative salaries, teachers may be making as little as minimum wage in some school districts across the country, while your principals and superintendents are making 6-figure salaries some places and above that. Yeah, I'm for supporting the schools, because the more schools we invest in, the fewer prisons we're going to invest in. And I would absolutely love to see a day where the schools have all the funding they need, and 5-star generals have to have a bake sale to get these slush funds that they don't have to account for. And again, I am not anti-military. we're a big country with a lot of enemies. We need to be able to defend ourselves. Granted, we tend to stir a lot of shit up too. And we'd probably have fewer enemies if we didn't get involved in other people's problems as much as we do. And before you go screaming at me that that's un-American, well, Ron Paul pointed this out 10, 15 years ago. I would have I actually have as one of those anti-spanking folks that some of you bitch about. I actually have a lot of respect for Ron Paul and Rand Paul because there was a New York Times article on this too. Rand Paul was never spanked as a kid. His parents didn't believe in corporal punishment, and actually he never used it either with his kids. There was a whole New York Times article on this, and sometime when I'm home, maybe when I'm home, I'll get the link to that. Because I just love when there are stories of people who grew up without corporal punishment, growing up to actually make something of themselves. Because there's a lot of pro-spanking propaganda, and they don't even try to prove their point anymore. Or when they do, it's a half-assed. There is not one single study proving the long-term effects of spanking. And maybe there may be one showing that there's really no difference one way or the other. But if there's no difference, why do it? If you can get the same result, this would be like if you could get the same result with modern medicine that you can get by amputating the limb and choosing to amputate anyway. No. But I didn't realize this video had been going for 45 minutes. I'm at my stop. It doesn't normally take 45 minutes to get to hear from Marion, but we made a couple stops. I may do another one of these in a little bit, but for now, that's the end of the video because I'm going in and check on my phone cords.